You know, what happens when two truly immense forces meet? I'm not talking about earth and sky, but something deeper, spirit and stone. On one hand, you have this monument of worldly power, a temple literally born from the ambition of kings. And on the other, a wandering monk, a man who sought absolutely nothing but the wilderness inside his own mind. This is the story of where they crossed paths, a legend that's truly etched into the very heart of Lanna.
So our story really kicks off right here, at Wat Chedi Luang, the temple of the Great Pagoda. For centuries, this place has been the spiritual and, well, the political heart of Chiang Mai. Its Great Pagoda, built way back in the 14th century, once soared 82 meters into the heavens. It was a statement, a declaration of both faith and might. And even now, scarred by an earthquake from the 16th century, its presence, it just commands reverence. This is a place of history, of ceremony, of immense worldly honor.
And into this world of stone and glory steps our other great force, a man defined not by any title, but by a timeless wisdom, Luang Pu Mun Bhuridatto. His whole belief was that the truth, the Dhamma, it belongs to no one, and yet to everyone. You don't find it in grand temples or high ranks. You find it in the persistent, quiet effort of the seeker. And this philosophy, well, it would guide his every single step. And so, our chronicle begins. We're going to trace the Dhamma's path as it brings these two legends, the monk and the temple, together in the ancient land of Lanna. So, who was this man, really? Luang Pu Mun was a true ascetic, a prapha, a forest monk. He came from the rugged Isan region and was an absolute master of insight meditation. His life was just a testament to simplicity and solitude. He actively sought seclusion, getting as far away as he could from the centers of religious power, because he believed the real battle wasn't for worldly recognition, but against the junk inside your own mind. And his perseverance, it was the stuff of legend. So that brings up a question, right? How did this master of the wilderness, a man who honestly preferred the company of mountains and caves, find himself at the very heart of the bustling city of Chiang Mai? Well, it seems destiny had other plans. In the year 1928, a message found its way to Luang Pu Mun. It was a summons, a call to duty, and it was from the one person he simply could not refuse, his deeply respected teacher and mentor, Fra Ubali Kanupa Marjarn, who was gravely ill and needed him in Chiang Mai. And this really gets to the core conflict of our story. Could a man whose entire practice was built on renouncing the world now be asked to lead one of its most prestigious religious centers? Could the forest monk really, truly thrive in the city? You have to understand, Luang Pu Mun's acceptance was not an act of ambition, not at all. It was an act of profound humility and devotion. He reluctantly took on the title of abbot of Wat Chedi Luang, not for the honor it carried, but purely out of selfless duty to the teacher he revered so much. So he accepted the role. But for a spirit like his, the weight of this new honor felt less like a crown and more like a cage. It was a spiritual trial, what you might call a bondage of honor. His inner struggle was this constant battle between two completely different worlds. On one hand, his path, the forest monk's way, was all about seclusion, that inner battle, and profound simplicity. But the abbot's burden was the complete opposite: constant public duties, endless offerings, administrative tasks, and just the heavy weight of a title. For him, these duties were a kind of bondage, pulling him further and further away from his true practice. And yet, even within these constraints, his spiritual power was just undeniable. It's said that when he gave a sermon at Wat Chedi Luang, the entire city would come to a standstill. Picture this: he'd start speaking at 7 p.m., and the power of his teaching was so captivating that he would continue all the way until 11 a.m. the next morning. Housewives on their way to the market would just stop, mesmerized. Merchants would abandon their goods. The whole city was held completely wrapped by the truth pouring from this one forest month. Now, all this immense power and influence could have been his for the taking. He could have become the most revered figure in the North, easily. But after just 1 year, he reached a decision that would become his defining act of greatness. That's it. Just 1 year. One single rainy season retreat was all it took for him to see with perfect clarity the path he had to walk. And it was a choice between the world's idea of success and his soul's liberation. He summed up his profound realization in this single, stark polyphrase: Sakaro Puri Samhanti. And its meaning is as powerful as it is simple. Worldly honor kills a man. He saw it perfectly clearly, that fame, offerings, and reputation, they were a slow poison. They cause your spiritual practice to wither, to get choked out by the weeds of ego and attachment. To cling to them, he realized, was a form of spiritual suicide. And so, he performed an act of almost unimaginable renunciation. He just walked away. He left the title of abbot, his official rank, and all the honor that came with it right there at the temple gates. And with nothing but his bowl and his robes, he walked back into the forest, back to his true home. Now, you have to understand, this was not a failure. This was his greatest victory. Because in giving up a worldly title, he forged a legacy that would echo across the entire globe. The legend of a saint who conquered the world by completely renouncing it. Finally free, he returned to his true path, wandering the mountains of northern Thailand for 12 more years. And it was in that seclusion he had fought so hard to regain, within the profound silence of Ban Kham Cave, that he finally broke the last bonds of suffering and attained the highest state of enlightenment. He became an arahant, a fully awakened being. His personal work was now complete. And from this single, perfected mind, a great river of wisdom began to flow. His example inspired what became known as the Gong Thup Dhamma, literally the army of Dhamma. An entire generation of Thailand's most revered meditation masters followed in his footsteps, carrying the light of his austere practice all across the land. You see, his legacy isn't just a story, it's a living, breathing tradition. It lives on in the countless monasteries that follow his way, and in the tangible relics and images that inspire millions to walk that same path of renunciation and perseverance. And then in 2020, it's like the whole world finally recognized what the forests of Thailand had known for a century. On the 150th anniversary of his birth, UNESCO officially honored Luang Pu Mun as a world-important figure for peace. The quiet monk from Isan had left a trace on the consciousness of the entire world. And so, this whole legend leaves us with a profound question, one that echoes from the ancient stones of Wat Chedi Luang all the way to the quiet forests of our own minds. What is true power? Is it the authority a title gives you, or is it the absolute freedom you gain by having the strength to let it all go?